now you have one, two, three, five players that are all Korean at the moment, and what was effectively, you know, kind of that split roster, Fusion University, not as split as they used to be.
And out the gates, Chongsik will still play the Hammond. So I'd have to maybe dig back in my brain to see when's the last time I've seen him play Hammond, but the Hammond triple DPS, something both teams are known for, but Fusion Uni will be the one that rolls out with it, as Snolo might be heading back into spawn after maybe scouting that GC Busan wave or running the 3-2-1 with a Sombra from Edison that you said we had to watch out for.
Yeah, Fusion University, they do this a lot here where they're going to be, you know, maybe making swaps before the control point actually unlocks, but in the process, they're going to be losing bodies, and GC Busan Wave going to be taking advantage.
I really wonder how they lost Fuse so early there. That Edison boy got into the back very quickly. And there was also, maybe Fusion Beauty didn't have their full 6, right? Snilla was going back to spawn, and now he's on Brig.
Yeah, he was swapping off of that Widowmaker because he knew that Edison was going to be a threat to him on the Sombra. I mean, you're talking about the guy on the pick that made Runaway drop a game and shocked the standings in Korea this regular season.
So first cap for GC Busan Wave and a Haggles to Junggu. There's a follow-up from Fusion Uni, setting that bubble down, but Chongsik didn't get that break support he was looking for. Took way too much damage at the beginning. As Ritz could be close to losing mech, and you could see Hatch trying to be set up from Edison, but with that punish on the Chongsik, not only do they have EMP, but they kept control of the point.
And I think what needs to happen here is not only do we need to see EMP control go over to Fusion University, you need to see them win out this duel, get the good follow-up, have Chongsik diving in on that nano boost onto him if you need it as well, build into the primal.
There's that EMP first from Edison, gets most of Fusion Uni, including Alarm, who can't even give that nano to Chongsik. Big focus fire onto that main tank of Fusion Uni, who now decide to still use that EMP from Nice in a 5v6 scenario. And now they're losing more and more bodies. It's now 4v6. Fusion Uni were not able to get the picks despite that EMP usage, trying to hold on to that doorway, but now GC Busan Wave are chasing them back into spawn.
Yeah, big commit when you're already down and you know you still have time for another fight. Fusion University might have just caught themselves where they're very much down in ultimate economy, don't even have the nano boost to rely on, and they also swap Alarm back over after using that. So both support ults now ready for GC Busan Wave, and Edison halfway to yet another EMP.
Now you're hoping Nice can build up that energy quick from that swap off of that Sombra, but the barrier engage comes in. Daydream has it, Fielder has it left over Transcendence, and Fusion Uni have been losing these fights so early that they have nothing else to commit, except if they can get Chongsik's Primal up for a recontest, for some stall. But look, they've cornered him. He went into closet a little bit by himself, and you see Bernard was trying to assist him, and Edison has another EMP. He's gonna attempt to stay on the map, but that is one decisive and powerful start from GC Busan Wave, 100-0.
Yeah, it doesn't look like Fusion University's hopes of being able to get their first Nepal win is going to happen today, but perhaps they can still turn things back around. We have at least one more round to go here on Nepal. Could make it another one after that as well if Fusion University can turn things back around, and it looks as though we are going to once again see triple DPS sported by Fusion University out of the gates, but we do see with Fusion University, Chongsik, he was starting on that Hammond, went over to the Winston, and I actually really like the Winston. I'm surprised Junggu was on the Hammond for so long, especially with all these Sombras in play, with that hack that could come out. And again, we talked about the EMPs, but the control on just the vanilla hacks that you could have on a Hammond player is still, I mean, that could be pivotal in a match. You could lock that player down completely.
And from looking back at my notes, Fusion Uni usually have Bernard playing the Sombra most of the time, or even Nice. So maybe this is the first time we're seeing Snilla do it. In the 3 DPS setup, things might change. Bernard feeling the Pharah, Nice on the Doomfist. So what Fusion Uni do, but usually, again, with Beast Halo on this Hammond. So if Chongsik is not careful, if he's not getting the peel in the setups, Edison will continuously hack him and get that farm of the quick EMP just like he did last. As Nice is in the back, forces the translocate out, but now has no targets. Fusion Uni, though, kept that middle map control. GC Busan Wave now looking for a moment to engage.
And Fusion University hanging in there. They have control right now. Try not to let it go over in favor of GC Busan Wave. I mean, it's just one little hash mark away from being able to go in their favor. GC Busan Wave, not only do they win the fight, but they get the point along with it. Snillo, though, definitely keeping pace with Edison here. And this is a player that, we haven't seen him as much lately on the Sombra, but certainly played a lot of it back in NA and is a very, very solid Sombra at that as well. So we don't expect him to fall behind against Edison, but you have to make sure that you're able to get value out of these EMPs. They start out good right now. They can play off of it. They also have the nano boost to play off of as well, but still trying to get through that Transcendence from Fielder that just came online. GC Busan Wave, they're going to have a lot of sustain here.
And this is good from Puny to just straight up mirror this. They have to deal with the EMP first. Edison launches it. Fusion Uni are falling apart. At least Snillo didn't use that EMP, held on to it. Didn't want to do what they did on Sanctum and try and mirror it in a dead fight. So now Fusion Uni will have the advantage in the next one as long as they can catch Fielder with it.
And they have to make sure that they can catch, either of Fielder or Daydream, because even the Sound Bear is coming up as well. So a multitude of options here for GC Busan Wave to weather the storm that will come ensuing the EMP that comes down from Snillo. But Fusion University have to wonder if they'll have enough follow through. Really going to have to rely on the nano boost to come in with it.
And the mines from Jonggu actually into the back as Snillo throws out the EMP to destroy those mines, to cancel them, but not getting too much out of it because of that Daydream barrier from GC Busan Wave. So kills following up perfectly after that. Full control for GC Busan Wave. Funy running a bit out of options in terms of ultimates.
And not having really any options. And now you're going to be taking a fight. Nano boost versus Transcendence. Lingering armor still on GC Busan Wave. Not for too much longer, but for the time being at the very least. And Edison in the meantime, not just getting the pick, but ever closer now to another EMP that could swing the fight in their favor should they ever even lose control, which I doubt.
But this is the second time Edison has picked off Fuse, once on Sanctum at the beginning, which got them the first control. Now EMP is about to go in. Edison hits Funy, even Alarm, who I think managed to still get the nano out, but the front line is just crumbling for Fusion University, who we thought looked so strong on Nepal. But the 0-2 scoreline looked pretty correct, and looks like the statistics will follow. And after this overtime goes away, we'll be at 2-0 for GC Busan Wave, and an 0-3 on Nepal for Fusion Uni.
Yeah, an unfortunate start for Fusion University, looking a little bit more disconnected than we've pretty much ever seen them. This is a different look from them, not kind of playing together as much as we're used to, but GC Busan Wave, despite everything, I mean, they're definitely playing very well and punishing Fusion University. You can definitely tell that GC Busan Wave have come to play, and this is definitely a team that is capable of beating Runaway as they have, so you can't downplay the prowess of GC Busan Wave as a team as well, going up against Fusion Uni.
And Fuse getting picked, and also that the Fusion Uni are running Alarm on the Ana instead of the Zen, so really relying on Fuse to get that barrier up against an EMP. But that's only map 1. We've got an assault coming up. We hope you stick around. We'll see you guys after this break. Well, it's not a good start for Fusion University. Now 0-3 on Nepal, but GC Busan Wave starting out strong. And they were a team that I think are kind of the dark horse coming in this season. You know, they beat Runaway and in a kind of a good direction against Fusion Uni currently.
Yeah, we've seen them drop games versus, only Gen.G and Element Mystic, two really, really solid teams in this season as well. I mean, this has kind of been the story of Korea so far, is that there's just so much parity right now that anything can happen, and GC Busan Wave is very much a part of that in that big shocker where we saw them take down Runaway especially. But beyond that, I mean, this is a very versatile roster. This is a strong roster centered specifically around Edison. I think, I mean, you see him all the time. They're never going to sub him out. You might see, Jonggu, Ion, they might sub in for each other. Delight, Alfie might sub in for each other, but never, ever, ever will you see Edison coming out for any reason at all, because everything that GC Busan Wave does is centered around this player in particular, especially now that he's been able to pick up the Sombra about halfway through towards the later half of season 1, where we saw him really kind of step up and play into form.
And speaking of the Sombra matchup, right, you had Edison versus Snillo. As we will be heading into Paris next, we'll figure out what the compositions might be. But the Sombra looked really good for Edison. Clearly more experienced on this role. Snillo using EMP to get rid of mines, for example. Edison using EMP and also hacking Chungsik a ton on the Hammond, forcing him onto the Winston, as you noticed in the last map.
Yeah, I think something else is just like the setup as well. I mean, we're talking about the pre-rotations, the pre-fight rotations. It seems like everything is coming together. It seems like GC Busan Wave is a team that has been together for months and months and months, which is obviously the case. Whereas Fusion University, it seems like there is definitely some kind of disconnect. And I mean, not to, point any fingers, but certainly when you're talking about integrating a new main support, it's going to take time to build into that synergy that you're looking for when you're making those adjustments. And I think that's what we're seeing at the moment. It's definitely something that I think can progressively get better over the course of this match, though. So definitely, not all hope is lost at all for Fusion University. And we've also seen how Fusion University can drop control maps in the past and bounce back later in the series. And I think that's still possible for them here.
Yeah, on Paris, looking pretty good between these two teams, and I'm hoping, like you said, Fuse kind of bounces back, because we were kind of looking back at the VOD, we're like, wait, did he have barrier at all? He's getting harassed a lot by Edison. Yeah, the answer is no. And that Daydream was able to get that barrier off, which allowed GC Busan Wave to have that advantage in the last fight, and that was a really quick Nepal. So hopefully on Paris, things can turn around for both squads, as on the defense will be Fusion Uni, where the Bastion comes out from Snillo, which we've seen this from them before.
Yeah, and they're going to integrate the 2-2-2 here with the defensive bunker with the kind of dive in there as well, where Nice can go in and provide some disruption. Chongsik can support that duty as well. And in doing this composition specifically here, you're really trying to work off the synergy of Alarm and Chongsik as well, because you're going to be able to kind of pocket that player going in, making those dives. GC Busan Wave need to make adjustments to make sure that they can deal with Chongsik should he get aggressive.
This will be the right move for them. Still making adjustments. Is it going to be now the Genji? Are they going for a Nanoblade setup? What will be what they end up with? We're still seeing some scouting going on, but Fusion Uni, with a Bath and an Ana, you don't have Transcendence, you don't have Barrier, so if they go with an EMP Blade or anything like that, they don't have the right support ultimates to counter that. But they're hoping it doesn't come to that point. This composition will be more about stalling than maybe full holding, as they would have liked. First Immortality is out as GC Busan Wave rotating towards the left. You see Jungkook's trying to knock this Bastion off, managed to do so. But with that Winston, you can see he was trying to assist that Bastion, or anyone that dropped to the low ground. But GC Busan Wave, with a successful dive, will now step onto the point.
Yeah, they broke down Fusion University here. Now it's just about cleanup. They should be able to secure this. Fusion University now have the question to answer of, do we want to swap up, or do we think we're close enough to getting our ultimates that we want to keep on this composition? Something to make note of here, though, is that GC Busan Wave, with this dive, it's not going to be as potent once they get their ultimates online, because they don't have that nano boost, they don't have the damage boost that they can give to Edison, and he's also going to be a little bit more vulnerable. So if they get a hack onto Edison and also get the immortality field down from Fuse, Fusion University can actually live through that blade and take Edison down without too much of a worry. They shouldn't have a massive problem, at least as much as you would with a Nano Blade.
Oh, EMP, tank configuration, and Primal. Hopefully GC Busan Wave can get their ultimates online, mainly surviving against what's coming up. You need the barrier, you need the Transcendence. Snillo is way too far away. He's getting free damage as the Primal from Chongsik is taking a lot of damage. He might just get out as Edison tries to follow. Almost using Chongsik as bait as the immortality drops. GC Busan Wave get hit with an EMP, but they have the ultimates. If they could survive, they could go for a blade as Fielder keeps his team alive with the Transcendence, but not really for too much longer. GC Busan Wave will have to reset now.
They also committed the Transcendence, so Fielder at the end there trying to get a little bit more charge. They need to have that in their favor if they do want to hold on to that Zen. But again, as mentioned, that blade is still available for GC Busan Wave, but the question remains, how are they going to make sure that Edison can get in there and actually find value? Well, the best case scenario is that you go off of the back of an EMP, or you use it when the EMP is down like it is right now, throw out the barrier and hope that Edison doesn't get hacked by Nice, because otherwise Snillo can rip him down.
It's going to also be good to use it with Ritz. I mean, as Edison is forcing mispositions and rotations out of Fusion Uni, follow up with the self-destruct could be the wombo combo. This Fusion Uni just giving them the space. They're trying to keep Snillo safe, and he immediately dies, and that's freedom for Edison on this blade. But the EMP, the self-destruct from Ritz! Perfect! Getting the supports, no tanks remaining. GC Busan Wave step on the point. Look at their timing, it's humongous.
Yeah, and that was going to be just a question of which one they wanted to use first. As you mentioned, you know, you could always go with the blade and then throw them out and then go for the bomb like they did. The other opportunity would be go for the bomb first, send them all and get isolated picks. But that was, I mean, you nailed it right in the head. That's exactly what they did. And it seems like, while you might have called it, Fusion University, they didn't see it coming at all and dropped instantly to that pressure. I mean, everybody died. I think they thought that they were a little bit more safe, and we saw Edison actually cleaving down the immortality. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The fact that he cleaved down the immortality with the blade was the best possible pick, in quotation marks, that he could have actually gotten with that blade to open up for the follow-up on the self-destruct.
Still a bit of a strange comp without the nano. I'm still used to it, but obviously needing the berry and the transcendence. Maybe you could have even probably sacrificed the break just for the Ana to have the nano, but obviously keeping that break and as insurance against Chong6 Winston at the time. But now flipping things over, GC Busan Wave on the defense with the halt and hook. I always have to look all the way down to the right for the flexible to make sure there's not a third tank.
Yeah.
I've made this mistake before, but it is the 2-2-2 in fact.
Yeah, and something to make note of as well with GC Busan Wave is you'll often see Ritz, specifically when playing with Jungkook, you'll see Ritz actually pulling the Orisa out despite being the off-tank player. Typically, Jungkook's going to be pulling out the Hog, and this just fits what they're best at. So even though this is technically a role swap, it's not that big of a deal in terms of the grand scope of things and how this roster operates. So very normal case here with Ritz on this pick, but GC Busan Wave very ready for the dive, also very ready to take any kind of shield trade battle that they have to take. So Fusion University gonna have to be very, very smart about the way that they approach this, because at the moment they're on dive, and that's still gonna be something I'd be worried about.
Yeah, probably worried about those mines and the Junkrat. And I think, you know, Fusion Uni waiting on that Widow to see, scouting if there's a far, because then that Widow would be useful in that sense. But now they know they have to focus on shield breaking. The dive, very susceptible to the mines of Delight, or the traps from Delight as they go in. But now focusing on the triple tank and having the Bernard on the D.Va as a safety measure to matrix some of these halts or matrix anything to keep them safe.
Yeah, this is just direct shield break, and then it allows Nice to actually just lob in rockets. Unfortunately for them, they have to make sure that they're also monitoring the halt hooks, and not the case to begin with.
Oh, they get their own though, and you will happily take an Orisa for a D.Va, as now the defense missing a shield. They're gonna stick onto this high ground, but Alarm is getting free hooks. The immortality, oh, it actually saves a Hanzo until Snillo happened. But still, opportunity for Fusion Uni to now take over this high ground, push GC Busan Wave into the back house. But Delight is trying to go for a flank with his Zenyatta, seeing if he gets some support picks from Fusion Uni. Mainly, you're looking for Fuse. That's the only source of healing for Funi.
I have to wonder if GC Busan Wave is going to be able to even go onto the point, and I don't think that they have the ability to. They don't have the firepower or the sustain to get in there, but they're going to dive in anyways. That's at least going to pull out the Dragon Strike.
And that seals off anyone that was maybe going to try and come out and save Ritz. And then this Tire, though, he wants to explode it as quickly as possible because they could also go and find him. Oh, you're going to get a 2K and a 3K, and now you've slowed things down entirely. So Funi will get their respawns going, and we'll see if they stick with this comfort point B.
Yeah, it's so important that GC Busan Wave took the fight like that. Also, by following up with the Tire, not only are they pulling ultimates away from Fusion University and forcing them to possibly make swaps going into point B, they're going to lack momentum, but also you allow your team time to make those swaps as well because you're denying that momentum push through with the Rip Tire kills that you got. So swaps being made now. Nice going over to the Genji here. And you can see how that's going to probably get followed up once he gets the blade by Fuse. Again, that solo healer at the moment as Alarm is still on the Hog, relying on the Mercy with the Valkyrie right now.
Now throwing some arrows there, and now having the Mei wall, GC Busan Wave adding to their shield power, and also using it to defend and maybe zone control. If they can even get a Blizzard online, it's already one tick for Fusion Uni. They have a Valkyrie in the sky. Transcendence is forced from Fielder due to that halt and hook that could have killed him. And now Alarm unleashes that whole Hog, and the Dragon forces everyone off of the point. GC Busan Wave couldn't contest.
So Fusion University actually incorporating that full shield break composition and allowed them to just basically kind of walk through both of the points And they finish actually with an even better time. This is exactly what we saw yesterday with Paris specifically, where teams are walking through on their first attacks with insane time banks. I mean, we're talking sub 5-minute time banks every single time.
Yeah, this was the halt and hook that got the Transcendence out, but it was Alarm's whole hog that literally pushed everyone away, getting rid of that supercharger, and the immortality kind of came a little too late. So I think it was the right move from Fusion Unity to go with the 3 tanks.
Yeah, I have to agree. I mean, G Supersonic Wave with that composition that they came with, especially with the Junkrat, when you do incorporate the 3 tanks, you're getting that halt hook, you're getting that shield break. You're also able to kind of mitigate some of that pressure that's coming onto your own shield as well, specifically from the Junkrat as well as the Hanzo, because you have that defense matrix available, so you can win out all of those duels, force G Supersonic Wave to hide behind LOS, then you can go for your halt hooks where they're playing blind, and that's a clear advantage that you're going to be able to take. So Fusion University, seeing how successful it was there on their attack, they're going to actually pull it right back out for their defense.
So the Pharah on defense, Nice could get some direct rockets into the door, but they know this is coming. So Fielder is looking for it. Also doesn't want to get domed there. All right. So the Widow or any sort of hit scan could come out to deal with Nice, but Fusion Uni gonna want to play this at a distance. Nice and Snillo on those heroes with the triple tank for the ultimate shield break. As GC Busan Wave don't even want to bother with a shield. They're just gonna go with Jungkook leading the way.
So with the triple DPS, now just looking to kind of crack the armor of Fusion University. We've seen this before, even yesterday, where that solo healer, it's very difficult to keep everybody sustained over this chip damage, but certainly a lot easier when Nice takes out the Pharah.
Delight was almost more focused on breaking the shield than his opposition. The res was allowed to go through, very risky from Daydream. But equal res on the other side, both teams not making any space so far, but Fusion Uni holding the line as Jungkook. You might see him in the back. He's trying to take the attention away from Funi and could get a free take here if they don't disengage. But now you're seeing Funi taking a step back. I think it was a Hanzo and someone else. The D.Va going back for it. As you see Chong-Sik keeping that front line intact with the shield.
Well, Fuse went down, but at least fortunately for Fusion University for now, they can rely on those mega health packs to be able to sustain them long enough for maybe Fuse to get back. He's got Valkyrie coming up as well, as Daydream went down there.
That's
so
Taxium, yeah.
Yeah, they can easily just kind of taxi him on back to the point and maybe get a late contest, as GC Busan Waves certainly now have the space to push into the point with.
Delight is like, hey, this is a free point I see here on discount. Now they're going in. The Dragon is going to seal the way that Fusion Uni are trying to come back from. They sent 5 members to taxi Fuse, and they gave up the most important position of that frontline corridor. Now they're trying to get in through that house, as a Dragon actually from Snillo will buy them some space on the point, but the shield couldn't stay intact from Chong-Sik. As the EMP earlier from Edison was trying to set up a play, but now Funi have really settled down on the point. They've slowed things down. They're stabilized. GC Busan Wave now have to give it up, but they did get a take out of that.
GC Busan Wave, I mean, you don't typically see Edison making too many mistakes with those EMPs, but this was one of them where you really needed to see him get the EMP onto Fuse, deny that Valkyrie if at all possible, and then allow them to find a susceptible target in the Mercy, take the Mercy out of the equation, and then easily go from there and win the fight through momentum alone. There's no healing left in that composition. So now going forward, have to make sure that they put some pressure down onto Fuse if they can.
Well, that pressure is going to come in form of some justice, some sweet, sweet justice, but also doesn't want to get hooked. Actually, could be going for it. He baits out the hook, and his Barrage on top of Barrage, and then Daydream with the sandwich on top with the Mercy. Fuse able to go for that Resurrect, as Daydream was taken out from a Bernard dive, so GC Busan Wave will be lacking supports.
Well, they take down Fuse, and Fusion University barely keeping Alarm up there as well. Now, once again, you'll have to see Fusion University taxiing Fuse back over to the fight before GC Busan Wave gets into position. You can see them actually making swaps. Daydream onto the Lucio. They're going to be quick to get onto this point, establish their presence there, ideally before Fuse can get back, but that may not even be the case. It looks like Fuse coming back, and on top of that, he's going to have the Valkyrie in tow as well.
This is a good compositional swap. Kind of still now actually giving up the Genji, having that break for the extra sustain, but Edison's EMP If this Brig doesn't get out, Delight is trapped
There it
here
is.
from Nice, who will not let him get out. And now, GC Busan Wave engaged with that EMP, but Fuse already has the Valkyrie, but it's not enough. As maybe one last contest. Nice has been trying to trap that Brig and then kind of forgot about the rest of the fight. So GC Busan Wave will try and get on this point. Alarm zoning it off with the whole hog. Keeping Snillo and mainly the Mercy safe inside this building, but it's the last 20 seconds. GC Busan Wave, they need to go now.
GC Busan Wave need to win this fight quickly so that they have as much time as possible to go for point B. They do have the EMP, they do have, of course, the Transcendence as well to play with going into this next fight, but Fusion University, you can see the swap actually coming in from Alarm, and I really like this, going for the Ana specifically, because you know that that Transcendence is coming online. It's probably already online, and as we can see it ourselves from our point of view, we know it's there. So now they incorporate the Biotic Grenade. You can actually get your kills here and try to outlast GC Busan Wave through sheer willpower and a respawn advantage as well.
Again, Edison, the weight of the world is on your shoulders. He's been discovered, still goes for the EMP, doesn't catch the supports, but Bernard self-destruct kind of closes off GC Busan Wave and then catches both Reinhardt's. Now they've been zoned off away as Fielder did go for Transcendence but wasn't able to save his front line, but still leads the charge of this attack onto the point as they push Fioni into their spawn room doors. But Fuse managed to stop the objective time, buys them a few more seconds for respawn, but now in overtime, it'll take them that much quicker to get back.
Well, Alarm, he's going to have the Nano Boost available, might be able to put it onto someone like Chongsik or even Nice, and they're going to do Chongsik. You see Chongsik, he could actually go for a slam, a pile drive, if he can get the height, and now has it, but he gets hacked!
Oh no! Edison just waited for him to drop. And now he's some good old ult charge for GC Busan Wave, who have a leftover grab. They've been hanging out here for quite some time. Funi, it's not winnable. You got it in overtime, which isn't an achievement in itself. GC Busan Wave, it looked a little bit scary on A, but they get the job done.
Yeah, real dicey on A. That triple tank composition, solo support. Fuse doing a lot better of a job, I think, of trying to elude a lot of the pressure. I mean, you saw GC Busan Wave gunning for Fuse throughout the entirety of that point A attack, and still Fuse was able to evade a lot of that pressure just by diving around the point and going to all the different allies that he had around him. So definitely, I say big respect. You can see Fuse bouncing back from his performance on Nepal, where we saw him getting pressured a little bit there as well. But Fusion University now with a 5-minute time bank, they could very well go for that same composition we saw them go with, you know, the triple tank, try to go for shield pressure, open up the plateau, and then as soon as that's open, you can go for your halt hooks. GC Busan Wave, they're playing blind. But this is an adjustment here from GC Busan Wave. We see the Mei actually being propped up by Jonggu. Ritz solo tanking on the Orisa.
So I like the Mei pick, especially if you're going against the halt hook question mark, which Fusion Uni have teased us before. The Mei can protect against that. As soon as someone's hooked in, you can use the wall to protect them. Also just slowing down the pace. It's good against a dive as well. The wall protection, but also Mei's freeze for zone control. I'm excited to see how this works alongside a Junkrat.
Yeah, that wall is going to be critical, because when that shield does go down, and trust me, it will go down, that wall might be the thing that actually saves them from getting picked, and Fusion University banking on those picks to actually open the site up, get an early point A take, and then go to point B to see if they can have some extra time to play with.
But the far is the right pick here from Nice. His only contest is going to be Edison if he guns him down. More focusing on shield break, because that went down as quickly as you said. That first resurrect already went through from Funi, so you're not having that cooldown. You don't have extra insurance running that solo heal. So Fusion Uni making slowly the space, as it seems like a lot of GC Busan Wave are focused on Nice at the moment.
And you can also see GC Busan Wave backing up to the point as well, and they're kind of spread right now, and that's going to open things up. And you can see Nice following up.
Oh, he's looking for that juicy Junkrat. He's getting healed, but he went too far in. And the Baptiste is the one that follows him up. And there's the dragon just from spawn to make sure Funi aren't too comfortable on that high ground, but they still currently are. But GC Busan Wave are still losing bodies, not too comfortable. They have the immortality to buy them some time. But Funi are starting to make space, but they can't just break through this Mei setup of Jonggu.
And an investment there from the Valkyrie, I think unwarranted. by Fuse on Fusion University's side, where you really want to have that because you're relying again on Fuse. He's your only healer. You need that spread healing from Fuse on the Valkyrie, and especially when you're seeing all this damage come out from players like Django. I mean, you're looking at a main tank player popping off on Mei, has the Blizzard available that's going to slow Fusion University down, and they don't have the mobility to get away from the Blizzard should it go down, and they can't get around the walls that's going to follow it as well.
Yeah, 1 in a million, right? That you have a main tank that enjoys playing Pharah and Mei, I was talking about you. Why'd you have to go and die? But he still throws the Blizzard, and now you have the tire over the top. Orisa's dead next to Snello in the back. And this has brought us down to less than 3 minutes for Funi to get the point.
Edison right now getting taken apart on the Doomfist, and slowly but surely Fusion University working their way forward. Fuse trying to sustain everybody, maintain their composure. It seems very likely now that Fusion University almost assuredly will take point A here with plenty of time to spare and play with on point B. Ideally for Fusion University, they want to finish with over a minute to allow themselves an opportunity to actually take the win. At worst case, you only have the draw.
Taking that point, and also quicker, and Bernard throwing himself into the ocean to get that mech back. Now they don't have the EMP though. They were probably going to get it online in the later stages of this coming fight. But GC Busan Wave, I mean, they used a lot just to hold on to that point A. Now they'll have to rely on the Immortality field, but also Fielder's Transcendence.
Another thing here too is GC Busan Wave. This is effectively a stall comp. I mean, you have the Doomfist, you have the Mei as well. The only thing you're missing is something like a D.Va. But now Dragon Strike invested. That's the approach now for Fusion University. Already diving in here a little bit.
A good halt and Dragon. Only Ritz was in the line of sight of that. But now, gonna have that amplification matrix, a little bit extra damage coming in, but oh, the hook almost went through. There's that amplification matrix. Fielder being very patient with the Transcendence. GC Busan Wave haven't really lost any bodies yet. They're being very comfortable on the point currently, and Edison starts harassing the back. And now he's going for more, even the Mercy, but Funi are trying to get out.
And that was another late investment on the Valkyrie as well from Fuse. So Fusion University, again, now banking on the EMP in this next fight. And ideally, they really want to hit Fielder with it, because otherwise the only thing they have to worry about then is the Immortality field that's going to come from Daydream to be able to find those kills onto the front line, open up the point for them, because those are the only targets that are realistically sitting on the point here. Jungwoo and Ritz are your main targets if you can't find Fielder in the back line.
There's nice EMP into the back. GC Busan Wave, Transcendence in time. Fielder keeping himself hidden, but Chongsik dangerously low, waiting for that cooldown as Edison tries to go into the back, but maybe too far deep. Staring to a nice green wall until we now come back into the fight where GC Busan Wave now relying on Delight's Blizzard, but not even needing it as Funi, point B, have the second tick. A Blizzard could be used for zone control as Edison had to be thrown in, and Bernard eats the Blizzard knowing that was going to come out. Emergency picks coming out, and GC Busan Wave would have liked to go this into overtime, but Funi will finish with about 43 to 42 seconds.
So we will see both teams actually allotted enough time to go for another approach, and it seems like this is going to be a very high score line here on Paris, as we've seen over the course of this week as this map has been in play. I mean, it seems like teams really know how to attack, but defending it is very, very difficult, especially with the momentum. I mean, it's such a quick rotation to go from point A to point B that even that respawn advantage isn't as crazy if you're able to get a really clean team wipe early on that point B attack. Really, really very hard to actually get back onto the point and reestablish yourself at that point.
Now, with very diminished time banks, GC Busan Wave will be attacking first with only a minute. So, I mean, ideally, you're looking for a take, so you at least set a winning condition. But if they don't, we'll see how Fusion Uni will attack second. But on the defense, Fusion Uni on the defense, still going with their triple tank.
So GC Busan Wave, I would like to see them go for some kind of dive setup here if they don't think that they can win out the shield war. And we saw how they kind of alleviated the issues that arose from this Fusion University composition earlier, but something that is going to be a little bit more aggressive, I think might actually be better for them. And that seems to be the case of what they're going for at the moment, where they do have, at least for the time being, Edison on the Genji, but they're making swap ups right now, still have the ability to go for that front loaded dive, put some pressure down onto one of the DPS, or ideally Fuse, because if you take Fuse out, then there's simply no healing left and Fusion University crumbles.
Yeah, GC Busan Wave still not going with the Ana for the Nano, so if Edison does get played, he doesn't have that extra insurance, but GC Busan Wave making a ton of space now, going to the left from their perspective, but losing mech early. But now you have Alarm and Snillo missing already. It's a ton of damage coming in from the attacking team. As you see, Fuse kind of went far forward. It looked like he was going for a res, as Nice was protecting him from above, and now he got punished from Jonggu, preventing that. As Funi really losing bodies here, and GC Busan Wave will be able to step on the point.
This should actually be GC Busan Wave taking point A. They are very much in control right now. They are even putting bodies onto the point, and now it's just really going to come down to Heroics Fusion University diving in.
Yeah, one last contest from Funi, one last hurrah. But now trying to get out as soon as Snillo, I think, died early in that. Oh, he's back? Or sorry, I think it was Alarm that died. Either way, GC Busan Wave getting point A within that first minute that they had, the only minute that they had, is huge.
Well, this is dangerous too. Edison, he's got the blade. We saw what they were able to do before with just the blade. I mean, no damage boost coming in for it. No, damage mitigation from the nano boost as well. It's really just going to be the vanilla blade that could sway the fight here. GC Busan Wave looking even just for one single tick if they can manage it.
Maybe even Fielder Transcendence. You need something, but Funi are going to attack first, and Edison gonna set them apart with a blade. Now taking mechs out, you have the mindset from GC Busan Wave, closing out the right side, getting a free second tick. Funi need to keep contesting. Snillo will drop down. It's only the supports that will stay alive, and if they die first, Funi don't have resources for much more of a recontest after. And Edison is just destroying Funi. He's popping off on this Genji. And that last self-destruction spell the end, and within the minute that GC Busan have, they will not only get point A, but also point B of Paris.
And GC Busan Wave have both of their support ults at the ready as well, should anything go awry, even just for a moment. Now actually pulling out the sound barrier, but that will be it. GC Busan Wave with another point on the board, making it 6 in total for them from a 1 minute time bank that they started with on their third attack. And now Fusion University, that was devastating for Fusion University. Absolutely devastating.
Yeah, that was tough. And then Edison not even needing that much support and keeping that break in case there is a dive from Funi, which you saw at the start of that point B fight. Funi actually dove them first, and even trying to maybe kill Edison before he can get bladed off, any sort of picks, but Funi were the ones that got punished. Now only that extra 43 seconds on their attack, it's still doable. I mean, they've been staying toe-to-toe in their time bank so far.
Still very doable, but then you have to wonder what to do from there. I mean, if you somehow miraculously make it and get that 6th point as well, then you're still looking at minute time banks where you have to be perfect on a defense and you have to keep Fuse safe, because that's when things fall apart for Fusion University. When they're going for that solo support on the Mercy, it's when GC Busan Wave are able to find Fuse, lock him down finally, and disallow him from going from ally to ally across the entirety of point A and get that kill. That Fusion University, again, as we've mentioned, they just crumble.
Edison was looking for ult charge, all got Matrix. That could also be risky, depending on if the Hog is looking at you at the wrong time. But Funi now going over to the Orisa, going for the triple tank halt hook. And Jonggu again is going to be important here with his walls. Oh! Halted into an icicle. That's a great first pick.
Really solid from GC Busan Wave, now actually taking that time bank right on down to pretty much where they started. Right about a minute mark right there as Fusion University. I mean, they're effectively starting from scratch. So that pick right there equalizes the time banks that they started with. Wall goes down, and so does Chongsik.
He took just a second too long to put that shield down. And now, is it Resible Fuse is still going for it? He was in the room, so he had some safety. But so much damage is coming in from GC Busan Wave. as a Halt and Hook went through, but Jungkook was able to ice block himself and dodge that. But Funi can't afford to drop bodies early in that fight. Yes, they use Resurrect, so now you can't do that anymore as Toxic went for a halt, but you saw that Alarm wasn't ready for the hook, and then the wall punished Toxic. So, like you said before here, that disconnect is so apparent in Funi.
Not only that, but because of the fact that Fusion University have struggled to actually get through this choke, which now they shouldn't, now that they don't have to worry about the Mei, but they still have to worry about the EMP. Edison has built it up. They have the Dragon Strike to follow up with as well, and Jungkook slowly but surely is making his way back into this fight.
And the EMP is being held on to. Ritz dies, though they don't have a shield for recontest, and Daydream went out in front of a hook. So Funi about to get the second take, and now GC Busan Wave throwing their bodies off into the ocean so they can keep their ultimates and not give any more for the point B final defense.
Still, GC Busan Wave have a shot at defending this. It's going to be very tough. Now, Fusion University, I love this swap from them. They're actually going to basically committing to the dive a little bit here and looking to try to take down GC Busan Wave with just a front-loaded, tip of the spear type attack with Nice going forward with Chongsik and Bernard. Snilla looking to help sustain them. 3 supports for Fusion University here.
But they kept the Mercy, no Lucio for that Valkyrie. EMP from Edison only gets Bernard unless it got Chongsik, but he's immediately deleted. Funi have to try and win this 5v6, now 4v6. GC Busan Wave only losing that Hanzo, but now zone control with the Blizzard and the wall. As Snillo separating himself from the rest, starting that overtime. Jungkook, holy cow, with these icicles, man. GC Busan Wave will now lead the series 2-0 after taking Paris.
Yeah, that was a risky swap to make at the very end, especially when you send Chongsik early. You can see that wall actually catching Fusion University as well off that replay right there, where Fusion University, they really would have liked to be able to support Chongsik. I mean, Bernard would have loved to be there to provide the defense matrix, but that wall cut them off, and Chongsik probably a little bit too early on that dive as well, just to try to get in there before the overtime wick started going down. But otherwise, still, Fusion University, as we mentioned, a little bit disconnected, but certainly looking a lot better than we saw them on Nepal.
But Chongsik getting picked, when you have 3 tanks, you would expect maybe a matrix, some halts and hooks being set up, but Chongsik got picked twice at the start of the fight. They only had a minute 40 something, had to use res early. It's looking not so great for Funi, but they still one last chance for them to come back, and it's in map 3, 2-0 for GC Busan Wave. We're gonna see you guys after this break.